I acknowledge the Larrakia, the traditional owners of Darwin. During the Second World War, members of the Larrakia Nation served the Australian nation in the Black Watch, scanning the northern seas and skies for approaching enemy, rescuing airmen who had been shot down. This morning, I also acknowledge a very special guest who was here 80 years ago. Flight Lieutenant Brian Winspear, who caught shrapnel in a trench at the RAF base on the morning of February 19, when, in his words, the Zeros and the dive bombers blew hell out of Darwin. The following day, Brian was ordered to fly a recce to Timor. He is described circling from the north over Kupang and coming slap bang across the entire Japanese fleet. To Brian, who has received his message from the Queen, it's an enormous privilege to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, this event that we hold here every year is not simply recognition of what happened on February 19. Darwin stands as a reminder to all of the painful cost of war, wherever it plays out. It is something my own son is too young to understand, but for children a bit older, it must be a very hard thing for parents to explain why the world is so constantly held in the thrall of the threat of war. Whether hot or cold, war has been a constant part of every generation's life for the last 80 years. Moments of enduring peace have been precious few. And the way things are around the world at the moment, that doesn't look like changing. We watch with alarm the events in Ukraine and, as ever, tensions in our own region. The truth is, I don't know what I will tell my children when the time comes that they ask why people go to war. The best I can do is to bring them here, to this cenotaph, on this day, to hear how men and women, even though they were completely overwhelmed and outgunned, gathered together to defend our shores, and to see who has gathered here to remember in the days since. In 1942, we were the key strategic location in the region. That is why we were attacked. Today, we remain the key strategic location in the region, standing as we do at the centre of the Indo-Pacific, so critical to the Quad, to AUKUS, and to our neighbours and friends. Look around us. Today, our leaders are with us. Our Prime Minister, our federal opposition leader, standing together. And leaders from all our major alliances. Not just the United States, who stood with us on this day 80 years ago, but Japan. How far have we come from this day 80 years ago? This is the powerful lesson that I want my children to learn, all children. It is why this day is one of national commemoration, and one day should be a national public holiday. To all, we reaffirm our willingness to take on that critical strategic role. It's also our responsibility to remind that the peace we enjoy here today, which is due to those who served us, requires our constant attention, our constant maintenance. By the time my kids are old enough to inquire, there will be no one left who was alive to witness February 19, 1942. Yet we will keep returning to this place to guard against slipping into forgetfulness. We want our children to know about war, but not to experience it. That is why it's important always to fight for peace. Thank you, lest we forget.